Yo guys, what's going on, man? It's your boy George back with another video of mine. Hope it's doing well on this Tuesday. Much love to all of you, man. So today's video, strap in tight, get comfortable, get ready for this video, because this video is about to be special. We're talking about a special manager and a special team that assembled in 2016 to 2017, and not a lot of people give this team credit for what they achieved this season. Yes, they only finished second, and I don't know how they finished second, because they conceded the least amount of goals that season, they scored the most amount of goals that season, they lost the least amount of games that season, and still finished second. You know, the likes of Dele Alli won the PFA Player of the Season, Young Player of the Season. Eriksson, as a midfielder, created the most chances that season. Harry Kane had a brilliant goal record that season. Dembele was so vital to that midfield, but they still came up short. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about how well they played that season, how to implement all their tactics, all their philosophies onto FIFA 21. I'm going to be giving you two variations. I'm going to give you an attacking variation, and I'm also going to give you a defensive variation as well. So I'm going to give you both aspects and both ways to play. If you don't like this way of playing, then I'm going to give you another way of playing. But before I get into the tactics, I'm going to talk to you guys about the instructions and how to set out with this team. Reese comes to crosses and sweeper keeper. Now, anyone that's watched Pochettino in the past, when he used to coach Tottenham, he likes his defensive line to be very high up the field, and that's because Tottenham like to counter press very aggressive, press high up the field. And anytime your midfield line is very high up the field, you gotta have your defensive line high as well, and there shouldn't be too much distance in between the midfield line and the defensive line, because if there is too much distance in between the midfield and the defensive line, then your opposing players, creative players, can find gaps and get in between the lines, and this is when Vertonghen and Alderweireld and Dyer get caught out of position, and this is when you might overcommit, you know. So this is why we defend with a high defensive line, to limit that space in between the lines, making it very hard for the opposition to find space and play out through this press. So the reason as a sweeper keeper also, because Vertonghen, Alderweireld and Dyer are decent defensively, but when it comes to dealing with through balls, what I've noticed is they're so stupid, they're so dumb, bruv. Like, they're so slow, and it's like when you have Lloris there to cover for them, it helps out a lot. And like I said in my previous videos, I've already told people this: to defend the counter attack, press the opposition, don't give space and time for your opposing player to pick up their head and make a pass. Before they even make your decision first before they do. And the best thing to do is to tackle them and be very aggressive, you know what I mean? So Reese, sweeper keeper, and comes for crosses. Now Vertonghen, Alderweireld and Dyer, no instructions set on them, all default settings there. Wanyama is more of your guy to protect the defense and pick up the ball from defense, to transition the ball from defense to attack. So stay back while attacking and cover center. Now Dembele, the GOAT, the underrated GOAT, he's got that title for being the most underrated player that I've ever seen, you know, in the Premier League as a midfielder. He's not your type of guy to get in the box and get you loads of goals, but he's going to be breaking the lines with his dribbling, with his passing, and helping out the team, man. He's so press resistant as well, and that's what you need in your team. Every big team has that, you know, a player that's press resistant, whether that's a Bernardo Silva, a Thiago, a Kovacic. That's the Dembele role, you know. So Dembele, stay on the edge of the box for a cross and cover center. So moving on to Danny Rose, he's set as a left mid, and he's on comeback on defense and stay wide. No other instructions set on him. The same goes for Kyle Walker, the right mid, come back on defense and stay wide, and no other instructions set on my guy Kyle Walker. Now the reason why they're set as left mid and right mid is because when they're set as a left wing back and a right wing back, they're not as aggressive going forward, they're not as good when they go forward, but when they're set as wingers, they work the line better, and I just feel like they help out more offensively when you set them as wingers. But obviously when you set them as wingers, you need them on comeback and defense, because when let's say the opposition does have the ball and they're trying to transition to attack, you need these guys to come back to create a 5 at the back. If you have them on stay forward, they won't create that 5 at the back. I've said that in my previous video as well. So you have to be very careful when you use wingers in this system. The best thing to do for defensive support is to come back on defense. And obviously, when you have these guys on stay wide as chance creation, both Rose and Walker, you're giving a license for Dele Alli and Eriksson to come infield to link up the likes of Harry Kane. And that was the theme for Tottenham in the 2016 and 2017 season. You had Dele Alli playing as a second striker, then you had Eriksson in between the lines picking up the ball from the likes of Wanyama and Dembele and creating a lot of opportunities for Tottenham. So that's the instructions I got for the wingers, Danny Rose and Walker. Now, so my guy Eriksson, come back on defense, free roam, and no other instructions set on him. Now, this guy is the most important player in this team when it comes to building up the play and starting attacks, because he's the one that's drifting in between the lines. He's the one that's playmaking, dictating the tempo, breaking the lines with his passing and picking up the ball in dangerous areas. And when he picks up the ball, what I've noticed when I play with his team is he draws defenders out of their position, and that gives a license for Harry Kane to run into that space and exploit that space and cause damage, you know what I mean? So Eriksson plays a huge role in this team, you know, with his through balls, his elegance on the ball. And in real life in 2016, 2017, he created the most chances in this team, you know. So Eriksson's very important to this team and how it flows. Now, when we don't have the ball in this variation, I'm going to show you another variation, guys, but in this variation off the ball, this formation turns into a 5-3-2 formation. So you see Eriksson as a right centre mid. He drops into the midfield and helps out the likes of Wanyama and Dembele. And then you obviously have Ali and Kane as the two strikers, and they will be pressing either the two centre backs or the defensive line. And occasionally you might see Eriksson come and help out, but what he does when we defend in our own half, he comes back and he makes a 5-3-2 formation. So that's Eriksson, and that's his instructions. Dele Alli, stay central, false 9, no other instructions set on him. He is your shadow striker. He's the one that's playing very close to Harry Kane. The pattern would be either Wanyama or Dembele to Eriksson, Eriksson to Dele Alli, Dele Alli to Kane. Kane holds up the ball, draws a defender, and then that leaves space for Dele Alli to run into, and then Dele Alli goes for goal. Dele Alli also makes late runs into the box, drops into midfield like a left attacking mid. That's why I got false 9 as an instruction for Dele Alli, and obviously he combines with Eriksson as well. And them three in general are very close to each other, so link up play in that final third between them three is so good, man, honestly. And it's so fluid, and they offer, their attributes are very different. Like Ali is very different to Eriksson, kind of plays the same role, but Ali will provide you more goals and he will play more closer to Harry Kane as well. So that's all the instructions I got set on Ali. And Harry Kane, if you want, you can play drift wide or you can have balance, but target man is very important. What I've noticed, having target man as attacking runs for instruction for Harry Kane just works well in this system, because you need somebody to play off. Like Ali and Eriksson need somebody to play off, and Kane is that man. Kane is your typical target man to drop into the midfield and pick up the ball and link up the play, you know what I mean? And not only that, he will get into the box and provide goals as well. So Harry Kane is a target man and no other instructions set on him. So that's this variation for the instructions. Now the tactic, press after lost possession or constant pressure, is really up to you and how you like to play. Obviously be more realistic to play constant pressure, because that's how Pochettino likes to play. Gegen press, wants to use the ball, trying to win the ball back high up the field to try and obviously draw mistakes and stuff like that from the opposition. So constant pressure or press after lost possession is really up to you. But on this game, once I go constant pressure after the 36th minute, my players are dead. You know what I mean? They're starving out here. They're thirsty. They want water, bruv. You know what I mean? Unfit guys. So for me personally, press after lost possession works well in terms of your player's stamina and stuff like that. You have to think of it from that level as well. So press after lost possession or constant pressure is really up to you. The width, 4 bar or 5 bar, is really up to you. The main thing is, guys, when you have it really wide, what I've noticed is, yes, it looks cute, but there's players in between the lines because there's so much space in the middle. You know what I mean? You don't want your opposition penetrating the middle. The best thing to do is force them out wide. The only way to do that, 3 bar, 4 bar or 5 bar, it's really up to you. But obviously you don't want to be too deep and be too compact in the middle because it forces players to play out on the wing, and sometimes players are good on the wing, you know, on seasons. So the balance, the perfect balance for me personally is 4 or 5. It's really up to you, but we're going to go with 5 today. The depth, 7 or 6. Pochettino likes to play with a high line, like I was mentioning at the start of the video. When you're trying to press and you're trying to play that style of football, you got to have your defensive line high. So 7 or 6, optional, is really up to you. Possession, offensive style, we're playing out from the back. Dyer, Alderweireld, Vertonghen are very good from playing out from the back. 2 of them centre backs that I mentioned actually were fullbacks. So Dyer was also a midfielder as well, and he actually played in midfield during that season. And as soon as they switched to a 3 at the back, Dyer went into that right centre back position and played in defence. So they're comfortable in the ball. So possession would be the option for me personally, and the width is on 3. Now the reason why I got on 3 or 4 is because you want Ali, Eriksson and Kane to all combine with each other. If you got it out, if you got the width on 7 and your 6s and 8s, Ali, Eriksson would be very wide, and that just destroys the whole philosophy of, you know, link up play between them 3. So have it on 3 or have it on 4, it's really up to you. Players in the box, 6 or 5. All you need is Ali, Eriksson and Kane getting in the box. Didn't really see Dele Alli getting into the box. No, not Dele Alli. You didn't really see Dembele getting into the box and getting tap-ins and making late runs like Lampard would at Chelsea. So 5 or 6 is really up to you. Corners, personal preference. Free kicks, personal preference. So that's this variation. Now I'm going to talk about the second variation. Now, to be honest, there is no difference, as you can see. Just difference in midfield. Dembele and Wanyama are now centre mids. You got Dembele as a left centre mid, and you got Wanyama as a right centre mid. You can either switch that as an RDM and an LDM. That's really up to you. But obviously, Rose is a left mid, Walker's a right mid, and the only difference now is Ali is a left attacking mid, and Eriksson is a right attacking mid. So Eriksson's role is still the same. Dele Alli's role is different. Now you're going to ask me, why is Dele Alli's role different to the last variation? Because this is more defensive. Because what happens now, I've set the instruction now on come back on defense for Ali, and I've also done that for Eriksson as well. But what happens now is off the ball, instead of the formation off the ball, when we don't have the ball, in our last variation it was a 5-3-2 like I mentioned, but now off the ball in this variation it's now a, when we don't have the ball, it's a 5-4-1 formation. So you got Harry Kane at top. Dele Alli's not joining Harry Kane when we don't have the ball. So instead of it being a 5-3-2, it's now a 5-4-1. So Ali is helping out in defense, and also Eriksson is helping out to create a flat 4 in the midfield. And obviously that's, well, it's just well more balanced in terms of being more defensive and helping out the likes of Wanyama and Dembele. So not only is Eriksson coming back, Dele Alli is helping out as well. So that's the only difference in this variation. Other than that, all the instructions are the same. As you can see, if I switch it back, Rose is a left mid, Walker's a right mid. Default settings here, Lloris, sweeper, keeper still. Wanyama, stay back while attacking, cover centre. Dembele, balanced and cover centre. Rose, come back on defence and stay wide. Same goes for Walker, come back on defence and stay wide. Eriksson, come back on defence and free roam. You want him drifting in between the lines and appearing everywhere in that final third. So the best way to do that, free roam. Dele Alli, come back on defence, get into the box for a cross, and pretty much nothing there. No other instructions set on him. And Harry Kane, drift wide or target man or balanced, really up to you. And that is pretty much all I have to say in terms of playing with Tottenham and how they played in 2016 to 2017. Very entertaining team, very aggressive team, and try it out for yourself, guys. You know, I'll show you guys a heat map. So the heat map will show you where everyone is positioned and where everyone appears on the pitch. So it makes it look like I'm not chatting shit to you guys, because I might be saying all of this, but everyone's appearing in different positions. So I'm going to actually show you proof and where everyone appears on the pitch and stuff like that. But that's pretty much all I've got to say in this video, guys. Try it out for yourself. Very fun team to use. Defensively, they're not the strongest, so your press game's got to be on point. And yeah, Dyer, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, they're not the greatest. Obviously, you can change and use a different team. Obviously, I've just transferred Wanyama and Walker into this team. I'm not sure what team you could use. You could maybe use Bayern Munich. Anyone that has a target man, really. You could use this system with any team that uses a target man, like Lewandowski, Cavani. Maybe you could use Manchester United. That could work. But yeah, man, that's me done for this video. One love to all of you guys. More videos to come. Future videos are going to be talking more about the four at the back and certain systems you can use. But other than that, guys, one love. Take care. Peace.